The mirror had been there for as long as anyone could remember. Beautifully laid with copper filigree, encrusted with smooth onyx stones, it hung at the center of the far corridor wall, catching what little light reached that end of the tower. The hall itself seemed to stretch endlessly, longer at night. The opaque shimmer of the mirror's surface reflected the dancing sconce light along the walls, though never quite clearly, always softened, as if something beneath it shifted just out of sight. That was why Seraphine had loved it. Welcome to Tea and Chapters. Journey with me as we begin. On nights when the darkness lingered longer than it should, and the storm pressed endlessly against the tower walls, she would find herself unable to rest, tossing, turning, listening to the low, constant drone of rain and distant thunder. A jagged blade of lightning streaked across the oriel window of her tower woe. Eventually, she arose. Silken gown brushing softly against the stone, slippers barely whispering against the floor, she made her way into the corridor where the mirror waited. The first few nights, she kept her distance. Standing at the far end of the hall, she would simply watch it, admire it. There was something almost perfect about it, mesmerizing. And if she stood still long enough, if she let the silence settle just right, she could swear she heard something. A soft hum, faint, familiar. It reminded her of her mother's lullabies. At first, she told herself it was nothing. The wind, the storm, her own thoughts, restless from lack of sleep. But as the nights stretched longer, the sound did not fade. It deepened. Soft at first, then clearer, closer, until one night, without realizing she had begun moving, she found herself halfway down the corridor. Her brother's voice startled her. He stood behind her, pale in the low light, asking what she was doing awake, if she was still unsettled since it happened. She reassured him she was fine, just tired, nothing more. Confused about how she came to be there and hoping to quickly end his inquiries, she returned to bed. But the next night, the sound was waiting for her. Stronger now, no longer distant, it threaded through the corridor like something alive, something patient. This time, she followed it. Step by step, drawn forward, her candle flickering faintly in her hand as the hall seemed to stretch and narrow all at once. And then she stopped. The sensation came over without warning. Not fear, not exactly, but something else. Something that made the air feel aware, as if the corridor itself had noticed her, watching. She turned slowly. The candle trembled, its flame thinning in her hand as it began to shake. But the hall behind her was empty, still. Only the sconce lanterns, the tapestries, the portraits watching in their silent frames. Nothing more. She exhaled, a quiet, unsteady breath, and turned back. For a moment, just a moment, she thought she saw something move within the mirror's edge. A flicker, a shift. Amber curls just behind her reflection. She blinked. The image dissolved, and only candlelight remained. She stepped closer. The air thickened noticeably now. The hum, the voice, had gone silent. Not faded. Gone. She moved again, slowly, carefully, until she stood just before the mirror, close enough to see the fine detail of its copper work, close enough to touch it. She lifted her hand. Her elegant fingers traced the intricate molding, slow and deliberate, until a sharp sting broke her focus. She pulled back with a soft hiss, bringing her finger to her lips as a bead of crimson surfaced against her skin. For a moment, she simply stood there, breathing, listening, waiting for the hum to return, but it didn't. Only silence. Heavy now, pressing in. She looked up, and in the mirror, looking back at her, was a pair of pale amber eyes, porcelain skin, a face framed by gentle curls, that same silken ivory gown, and the same rose-pink lips. It was her. Well, almost. She stared, still, waiting. Something in it didn't follow, didn't match. And just as the realization began to settle, she hadn't seen everything yet. This is only the beginning. I'll see you in the next chapter.